best half a year of all time in Greater Calgary real estate. But now what? Tune into this month's episode to learn what we achieved and gain some insight into where we may be going for the rest of 2022. Despite the recent pullback being discussed in the headlines everywhere, we have just completed the greatest 6 months in our sales history, as I just said. So regardless of where you sit on that doom and gloom or full steam ahead fence, this fact is now firmly planted in the history books. Homeowners all across our province have seen a well-deserved rise in their net worth and household equity, providing finally that little sense of comfort and security that we've all long craved. So to this, I celebrate and I cheers to you. But there is truth to the headline. Sales this June did see a very small decline from 2021's numbers, and we did once again see a small decline from May. I think the number was 2.4% and 7% respectively. What essentially happened is Greater Calgary had an early spring market. The perfect storm brewed with ultra low inventory and increased confidence in our economy while still sitting with near record low interest rates. This resulted in earlier than normal higher buyer demand. So March and April and May were the peak of our 2022 busy sales season, where generally this is April through June. And then we'd start to see that pullback in July through the balance of the year. But this year we're just starting a little bit early. And yes, the recent rise in interest rates from the feds has caused additional breaks for some, or adjustments to the buying power in the market. But life goes on, as it always does. The demand, the dream to own a home always has a way of finding a way, regardless of the daggers being thrown at us from our politicians and policymakers. The pullback of June was more focused on the detached and the semi-detached markets because, well, they're the more expensive housing market. So if people have to tighten their purse strings, they will still move, but they will buy a home in a lower price bracket, like some of the great home options in row houses and condos. Both of these saw 35% increase in sales over last June. Looking one step deeper, here is a graph showing home sales by price range versus the last 3 years. What you'll see is the red bar of 2022. It far outreaches the yellow bar of the 2021 year, or if you remember, our prior best year ever, all across the board. So despite a small pullback in June, year to date, it's a proven fact that the Greater Calgary market is okay to spend more money on all parts of our market. And I believe this is here to stay. And one of the reasons for this is because of our inventory story. Again, despite the headlines talking about an increase in inventory, it's still absolutely nothing to concern ourselves with. We remain the second lowest inventory in 15 years, coming out of our month of June. Now, comparing to last year, we have 22% less. That's about 1,500 homes and nearly half of what we had just a few years ago in June 2018. But we are seeing the combination of sales slowing month by month and inventory continue to climb little by little. The sales to new listing ratio is getting a little looser. Right now, we were at 70%. Last month, 72. The month before, 75. And then at our peak, closer to 80%. Loose means less homes that immediately hit the market, sell right away. There is more breathing room for buyers right now. This shows up also in the month of supply stat. Oh, looking at the graph, Darren, you said it's getting looser, getting easier for buyers. But this arrow is showing right near the bottom still. Well, yeah, that's exactly right. We've loosened from that ultra tight noose of March through May, but we remain a very healthy and fast-paced market with months of supply still just under 2 months. Now, it's right here I wanted to add the fact that the story is really starting to change property type by property type and also district by district within the city. Let's look on the far left, for instance, in the detached section. You'll see the city center has about 3.6 months of supply. But then the southeast has 1.08. That's a 230% difference just within one single property type. And as you look across the whole graph, you'll see this occurs in each one of these sections too. Then, when you look across the counties, also within the Calgary Real Estate Board region, these changes continue to happen. I share all of this because when the market undergoes a shift, it doesn't all happen at the same time in the same everywhere. Not by a long shot. So more than ever, it's important to have a realtor that is very in tune with the dynamics happening in your hyper-local situation. So ask those tough questions and make sure they can give you the answers. The strategies are going to be different all across the board. Okay, that's enough about that. Let's get to the pricing picture. Now, as the sales pull back and the sales to new listings ratio loosens, you'd also expect some slight easing on prices, right? Well, that's exactly what's happened. Prices as a whole just adjusted a few thousand down from our May's peak. But before you panic, this happens nearly every year. If you go back to 2006 and 7, you'll see a peak month, and then you'll see flatlining, and then a small adjustment into the winter. Then as the new buying season perks up, well, so do prices. And as it does nearly every year, in all of our history, year-over-year price trends improve. Here, below is the year-over-year chart showing the increase across all the districts and property types. Look at this. It's really quite remarkable. And then here it is on that big map I share with you all the time. The range of growth is, say, 8% in the core, up to about 19% in the north, northeast, and the southeast. Then again, across the regions, you'll also see this. Canmore and Airdrie, they stole the show, 25% improvements. Strathmore was the smallest on this graph, but still had an improvement of 13%. So everyone is sharing in the good news pricing picture. All right, so you may be thinking, I get it, Darren. We've had a great year so far, but I'm worried from everything happening with rates and how these increased prices will actually affect us. I understand the concern. Let me share a few things to try to ease your worry. Well, first of all, net migration. Not only is our growing economy good for us as locals, it's also attracting more and more people to our province, and a great majority in our region. You can see by the graph, we are nearly triple the number of new people to our province than just 4 and 5 years ago. It's amazing. Now look back a little bit further. On this next graph, you can also see we are very much in line with some of the heydays of Calgary, 2012, 13, 14, and even parts of that really hot market of 2014. This is really good news for us and our ability to keep property values steady and maybe even increasing despite those rate changes. More people, more demand, more stability. Secondly, unemployment. Looking at this graph, you will see we are again way down in comparison to the last 8 or 9 years. And this continues to improve month by month. Lower unemployment, more companies profiting, more people working, and then contributing to our economy. This drives stability back into the housing sector. So yes, we had an amazing and record-breaking first half. But with everything I've shared and lots, well, I simply didn't have time for, we are very well set up to keep those gains we've achieved in our pricing growth. So if you have to make a move, be confident. If you are looking to make your first one, also be confident. If you aren't ready to purchase yet, know the overall economy is in a good place. And the sooner you get there, the sooner you'll be able to start benefiting also. So with that, that is your July market update. I hope it once again provided you a ton of value. Now, if you require, remember I said, any specific market information relating to your scenario, please don't hesitate to let us know so that we can introduce you to a market specialist here at Redline. I'll be happy to connect you. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and please share this with as many people as you can that you think would find value. Thanks for watching. See you next month.